So yes, now I am done with the articles. So there are only 3 in German, there, the, thus. Yeah, not so difficult. I don't know why people say German is difficult. For me, it was very easy. Now let's see what is there in the next chapter. Akkusativ? What? It's true. Life really is too short to learn German. One thing in which students struggle the most while learning German is the different cases that are there in German language. But you don't have to worry, because in this video I will explain the accusative case in German in the most simplest terms, and I will also give you some rules on how you can identify whether you have to use the nominative or accusative case. And I promise you that if you watch this video till the end, you will have no confusion about the accusative or nominative case. So let's not waste any time and let's get started. So first of all, we will take a look at how to find the subject and object in a sentence, and I will also tell you why this is important. Then we will take a look at the nominative and accusative cases in German. After that, I will tell you about the articles in accusative case, and then we will see some examples with the accusative case. And at the end, I will give you a self-check form for practicing what you learn in this lesson. I know that these different cases cause a lot of confusion among people who are learning German, but I can assure you that if you watch this video till the end, you will have no problem with the accusative case in the future. So, how can we find the subject and the object in a sentence? So let's consider the sentence. Peter buys a table. So in this sentence, buys is the verb, because this is the action which is being done. Now how can we find the subject in this sentence? So for this I will give you a rule, and that is you ask who and then you add the verb after it, and this will give you the subject. So let's find the subject in this sentence. So we replace the verb with buys, which is the verb in this case, and the question becomes who buys, and we know that Peter is the one who is buying. So the subject will be Peter. Now how can we find the object in a sentence? So for this, the rule is that you say what does, after that you add the subject, and then you add the verb, and this will give you the object. Let's find the object in the sentence above. So the subject we already know is Peter, and the verb is buy. So the question becomes, what does Peter buy? And if we see the sentence, then we know that Peter is buying a table. So a table is the object. There is another way that you can also find the object, and that is you say what is being, and then you add the verb in past tense. So in this example, we will say what is being bought, and we know that a table is being bought. So a table will be the object. So these are 2 different ways of how you can identify or find the object in a sentence. You can use whichever way you prefer. In some cases, it is difficult to know what the subject is, and then you can use the second way to find the object. Now let's take one last example, and over here I want you to fill in the blanks. So the verb is sees, and if we want to find the subject, then we will say who and then add the verb, which is sees. The answer is the dog, and in order to find the object, we say what does, then the subject, which is the dog, and then the verb, which is see. So what does the dog see? And that is the cat, which is the object. Or we can say what is being, and then the verb in the past tense, which is seen. So what is being seen, and that is the cat. So using these rules, you can find the subject and object in any sentence. Now why is this important? Why am I telling you about how to find the object and the subject? So the reason I am telling you this is because in German we use different articles for subjects and objects. And before we go into the articles, I want to tell you that in German the subject is called nominative and the object is called accusative. So whenever you read or hear the word accusative, you must know that this is the object, and whenever you hear nominative, then you must know that this is the subject. Now let's take a look at the articles in accusative. So we know that in German we have 2 types of articles. These are bestimmte Artikel or definite articles and unbestimmte Artikel or indefinite articles. I have made a separate video explaining both the bestimmte Artikel and unbestimmte articles. I will link it in the description below and you can take a look at it. Now let's first take a look at the bestimmte Artikel. So in nominative, the bestimmte Artikel for masculine is der, for feminine it is die, for neutral or neuter it is das, and for plural it is die. In case of accusative, the masculine article is den, the feminine article remains the same, which is die, the neutral also remains the same, which is das, and the plural also remains the same, which is die. So we see that the change occurs in masculine, that is, there becomes den in accusative. Now let's take a look at the unbestimmte articles or indefinite articles. So the masculine article in nominative is ein, the feminine article is eine, and the neutral article is ein. There is no indefinite plural article. So in accusative, the masculine indefinite article is einen, the feminine is eine, and the neutral is ein. So over here also the change only occurs in masculine. So ein becomes einen. Now let's take a look at some examples to understand how these articles are used in sentences. So we will start with the masculine case first. So let's take the example that we saw earlier, that is Peter buys the table. So table is masculine in German and is called der Tisch. So the sentence will become Peter kauft den Tisch. Peter buys the table. So you see over here we have used den and not der because table is the object over here or is the accusative case. In case of unbestimmte or indefinite article, the sentence will be Peter buys a table, and in German we will write it as Peter kauft einen Tisch. Peter buys a table. Now let's take some examples with the feminine articles. So an example sentence will be the dog sees the cat. So the cat is die Katze in German, so it is a feminine. So this sentence will become Der Hund sieht die Katze. The dog sees the cat. So the sentence with unbestimmte article will be the dog sees a cat. In German it will be Der Hund sieht eine Katze. The dog sees a cat. So you see in this case the articles are the same in both nominative and accusative case. Let's take an example with the neutral articles. I read the book. Book is das Buch in German. So the sentence will be Ich lese das Buch. I read the book. Indefinite or unbestimmte article it is I read a book, which is Ich lese ein Buch. I read a book. So no change over here as well. In case of plural, an example will be the guests ordered the drinks. So the drinks is die Getränke in German. So this sentence will become Die Gäste bestellten die Getränke. And over here bestellten is the past form of bestellen, which means to order. Now I have a very interesting example for you. And the example is the dog sees the dog. And in German, the dog is der Hund. So it is masculine. So how will we write this sentence in German? So this sentence will become Der Hund sieht den Hund. The dog sees the dog. Now over here, one dog is the subject or nominative and the other dog is the object or accusative. And you can find this by the rules which I told you in the start. So you can find the subject by asking the question who sees, and that is der Hund or the dog. And for the object you can say what does the dog see or what is being seen, and that is the other dog. So let's see the same sentence with an indefinite article, and that is the dog sees a dog. So this will become Der Hund sieht einen Hund. The dog sees a dog. So the second dog is the object or accusative and the first dog is the nominative. That's why we use der with the first dog and den or einen with the second dog. Now before we do a recap, I want to give you one important information, and that is we always use nominative after the verb sein. Let me explain this with an example. So for example, we have the sentence that is a dog. In German, we will write this as Das ist ein Hund and not Das ist einen Hund. Let's take a sentence in the past tense and with the bestimmte or definite article. So the sentence is that was the table, and in German this will become Das war der Tisch and not den Tisch. The reason we don't use accusative over here is because both Hund and Tisch simply define the subject and are not the object. So just keep this in mind that whenever you use sein, you always use the nominative after it and not the accusative. So now let's do a recap of what we have learned. So we learned that in order to find the subject, we use who and then add the verb, and with this we get the subject. And in order to find the object, we can say what does and then add the subject after it followed by the verb, and this will give us the object. Or we can use what is being and then add the verb in past tense after it, and this will also give us the object. And in case of articles in accusative, we saw that the bestimmte article in masculine, which is der, becomes den in accusative, and the unbestimmte article, which is ein, becomes einen in accusative. For all the other cases, the articles remain the same. And we always use nominative after the verb sein. So with this, we come to the end of the lesson. Great work. This is a big step forward in your German learning journey, because now whenever you see these articles, then you will know that this is for the object and this is for the subject. And if you use the correct articles in the writing exam, you will not lose any marks and get a good grade at the end. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions or any feedback, please let me know in the comments below. I have also prepared a self-check form so that you can check how much you have learned in this video. Thank you very much for your time and see you in the next video.